I think the roadmap suggests that if we start building in 2012, that's probably realistic. Now that may seem a long way to people. They say, why do you have to wait so long? But the reason we have to wait so long is we have to get it right, not get it quick. And putting all the personnel in place and getting the right advice and the big decisions, that you can't rush, so that'll take time. I imagine that once it gets underway, with a very good building construction team, please God, in place, that it will progress, relatively as quickly as can be, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Now, just beside your shoulder there, we see a wonderful chalice that you brought from Rome, a gift from the Pope himself.
That's right, a gift from the Pope himself. I was very pleased to get that, not for its material value, but the symbolism of it. It was a sign of support, which actually, that's what he wrote in the letter that came with it, that he wanted to show, encourage us and support us in the restoration. So I find that, very, very supportive and affirmative at the present time. So it's a beautiful chalice, and the day that it's rededicated, somebody, I hope, will be able to use it on that day.
Maybe even yourself?
I don't think so.
And you also have vestments here as well?
That's right, with beautiful vestments as well, which are, they're just, these kind of vestments that would only be taken out in any cathedral on a rare occasion, and that's what they will be. But I can imagine that long after my time, and long after the people who come after me even immediately, those vestments will be there. It's very few cathedrals in the world, I'd say, will have objects like that. So they're really, really historic. They will be in time to come.
Now, that was all part of your visit to Rome and the Bishop's visit to Rome. Was that a difficult week? Was that a tough week personally for you and for your colleagues?
Yes, it was. It was hard work. I had this sense of being in a moment of history. We were there, a group of about 24 Irish bishops, in a situation that Irish bishops were never in before. 24 people, the Pope listening to us, listened to every one of us, one after the other, sat there at the top of the table, had the text of what we were saying, and he was there with his pen underlining words in it and so on. So that certainly was impressive. I had to pinch myself sometimes almost to think, is this happening? Am I sitting here with, in this situation? And we were, of course. It's a measure in a way of how serious the situation is and how serious Pope Benedict is taking it. So I think there's, that in a way is a bit shocking to some degree, because you'd say, are things that bad? Well, they are, but on the other hand, it's evidence, I think, that it's going to be addressed very strongly and very, very enthusiastically.
Because the survivors of abuse and their campaign groups were very unhappy with the outcome and how that was communicated following your meeting in Rome, because they just felt it's not enough, it's more of the same, they haven't moved on any.
Yeah, well, I think expectations were too high, in my opinion, ahead of time. There was nearly inevitability about people feeling a bit disappointed. I'm saddened that they feel like that, and I certainly wouldn't want that to happen. But I'd be asking them to try and be patient with the process, because it was one stage after all. It's not the end of the journey by any manner of means, and we've a long way to go. In the country here, there are still things to come which will be difficult. So we can't write the bottom line, far from it yet. And I don't think the Pope or his advisors thought for a moment that they would be able to hand us out some kind of wonderful answer which would solve everything. It's not that easy.
So you're saying that in terms of the Church's response and how it deals with the problems that are there and the issues that arose over the last number of years, that it will be some time before you can actually complete the process of putting that right?
Oh, I think it will, without any shadow of doubt. I have no false assumption that we will come to the end of the road quickly. There's a lot of work to be done. And on the other hand, it's like rebuilding a cathedral. You can't rebuild the community of the church either overnight, especially when there was serious neglect in the past. We acknowledge that readily now at this stage. And to repair those gaps in the church is going to be tedious and difficult and painful. Painful for us all, I think.
2 words, apology and redress, is what is being demanded of both yourselves and the Pope. Yeah. When will we see both of those issues finalised?
Well, I think, sometimes people say to me, we're tired listening to you apologising. But my answer to that is always, I can't say it too often. And obviously that's necessary because people look for that word all the time. I'm quite sure that Pope Benedict wanted to convey that to us. In fact, I think one of my colleagues has said that quite clearly in a letter that he sent out in the diocese. And everything, I'm not sure what the exact word being used, but I think it would be a pity if we held someone to be neglectful because the exact word we want. But the concept was there. The wish to reach out to people was certainly there. Now, in the matter of redress, of course, that also is complicated because we have not just dioceses, but we have religious congregations because of the institutions and so on. And probably expectations in that regard were also way beyond what could be fulfilled. So I think that's also going to take some considerable time to tease out. But I do think we have to walk the journey with people who have feel the need for continuing support or redress in whatever form. That's going to take time as well. And I wouldn't be able to say when we'll reach journey's end in that one either.
The Bishops' Conference have formally invited Pope Benedict to come to Ireland. Do you see that as a real possibility for 2012 with the Eucharistic Congress here?
Well, I think it might happen, yeah. I think it might happen. I suppose when you put in the word realistic there, I think what I would have to ask myself is, this man is not young any longer, and to expect him to take on more foreign travel in his 80s is a big ask, really. So I really would be reluctant to say that we can realistically expect something to happen. But I'd say his willingness to say yes is beyond question.
Is it important that he comes here and says something specifically to try and heal the wounds that have so horribly been exposed between the Church and its people?
Well, I think it would be very, very helpful. I'm thinking of when he went to the United States, when he met victims there. That was one of the highlights of his visit to the United States. He went to Ground Zero in New York and he met victims, and a lot of the other things were accepted as routine. Those two things, were very pleasing to the population. Maybe not just the Catholics, but wider than that too. I think the same would be true here. Whatever he can do in this regard would be more than welcome, yeah.